Hey guys, this is TJ, and you're listening to the Bammsters podcast. Remember, with great podcasts comes great entertainment. Boom, 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 boom.
Hello guys and welcome back. Welcome back to episode 117. Good lord, 117 episodes. Today guys will be a short newsy type segment with myself and G. G's going to be saying hi very shortly, and then after this will be Drac and TJ with their comic shop talk, and they're going to be discussing quite a few bits and pieces. That's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Mind blows everywhere. It's just brain matter all over the walls. So, yes, very interesting topics. Anyway, guys, tonight, newsy type topic stuff and things. G's joining me. G, say hi.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, it's me, Nils Christian, but hey, as always, you can call me G. And yeah, I'm looking at the notes from that comic shop talk. It's all Avengers Infinity War, because it's been long enough that it's no longer a spoiler for most people.
Believe it or not, I haven't seen Infinity Wars. I am deliberately not going to see it because I quite like what Amazon's doing right now with their video libraries. I'm going to be getting it on the Amazons, and I'm like, well, I'll just buy it on Amazon, dude, and watch it at home. You know, that's what I'm going to be doing, because that's what I've done with Thor Ragnarok, and I thought it was a bloody good idea. So I'm going to do it with Infinity Wars as well.
Oh yeah, I waited Black Panther. Watch that at home.
I still haven't seen Black Panther. Thank you. I should watch Black Panther first. Yeah, that one.
I think so. Yeah, that was the hint I got from them as well. But hey, it's their topic. We're not supposed to take that. So,
yes.
What do you have for us?
Well, believe it or not, G, I know I'm still catching up from my sickness, my illness, my doom and gloom times, and I'm still catching up on the internet in bits and pieces, and I only just found out, believe it or not, I know this is like a week and a bit old, TotalBiscuit has passed away. Cynical Brit, total halibut. The guy, the man, the legend, the critic, he's passed. He died of cancer, unfortunately, and he was only 33 years old, and he was struck down by such a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah, it's one of these things. It can happen to the best and the worst of us. It can literally happen at any age.
Yes, it can. We're not going to dwell too much on this topic. I know it's already like 2 weeks-ish old, so we're just going to touch on that. Condolences to all people and everyone else about that. People who are dancing on his grave, get a life. Seriously, just get a life. So just really get a life. Condolences to all those concerned. Yeah, I know not people listen to this podcast, but thoughts are out there.
I can only agree. You're right. It happened a bit time ago, and it was sad to see. But life moves on, unfortunately. Luckily, thankfully. So, but yeah, every feeling goes out to his family, his friends, and everybody who got affected by it.
Yeah, not necessarily a topic we at Bammsters tend to deal with very well. We don't really know how to deal with these sort of things. But hey, feelings, thoughts, all to those concerned, condolences. Anyway, G, moving on to more, topical news, more delicious news. Fallout 76, my good sir. Yes, Fallout 76. What do you think of that?
Is this where we should go over and make all the terrible jokes that showed up on Twitter about, where's Fallout 5 through 75? Or what was it? Oh, it's going to be another one of those Battle Royale games. I think we made that joke as well.
Well, to be honest, it would be dumb for developers such as Bethesda to not do something like that. I mean, E3, all games were confirmed. So, and I'm not going to jump straight into the middle of the sheet we've got in front of us, G. So let's start from the beginning. Fallout 76 is our next Fallout game. And it's 2102. So, it's quite early on in the old Fallout sort of thing. So I'd like to know how Fallout 1 was 2161, Fallout 2 was 2241, Fallout 3 was 2277. How the hell does it go to Fallout 76 in 2102? So it's gone back in time, G.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is, 59, 60 years, give or take a bit, before the very first game. And it's quite a long time before the events in Fallout 4, which is the latest. So it seems like they've gone back to a time that is fairly documented, actually. There's a lot of material in the Fallout lore covering this period. And it's not a random number, that 76. It's Vault 76, which is also described in the Fallout lore. If you play the games, it's in there. I think Fallout 3 refers to it as a control vault, because Vault-Tec has been doing experiments in all of these vaults, except 16 or 18 control ones where they've done nothing, so they have something to compare with. Science.
Well, science is the be-all and end-all of everything on the universe, G. But, my Fallout 5 through my Fallout 76, where my Fallout, bruh. Good lord. Don't get me wrong, I started playing Fallout at Fallout 3. I'm not ashamed of that. I'll admit that openly. I went Fallout 3, played New Vegas, enjoyed it. Played Fallout 4, enjoyed it. Base building was meh. I just preferred to play the missions. Missions, bro. Missions. That was me. Explore the landscape. Missions, bro. That was me. I like it. That's how I play Bethesda games. Not necessarily stick to the path. Go exploring. Have a see. Have a looky-loo. So, yeah. This is a control vault that was open. Vault number 76. Good lord.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting, little tidbits if you look at the trailer. Like, at one point they say, when the fighting has stopped and the fallout has settled, you must rebuild. It sounds like, are they being let out to, build the first settlements to be the ones repopulating the Americas? Are they going to be the basis for everything else? Was there some idea that, once this war hits, then wipe the slate clean, tabula rasa, and now Vault-Tec is basically in control by having these vaults?
Well, that's all very well and good, G, but, looking at that, speaking, you mentioned the date, right? A lot of people reckon that's going to be the launch date for the game, 27th of October. Uh-huh.
There is that, yeah. We see the alarm clock right next to his bed. It says 27 October 2102 at 6:34 in the morning. So nobody's really deciphered the 0634 yet, but I'm sure somebody can think of it meaning something weird.
Yes, that it's going to launch worldwide at 0634. Yeah, that's it basically, because, time zones, bruh. Time zones, bruh. I'm sure it'll launch in America at 34 minutes past 6, and it actually launches 0.00 in the Pacific somewhere, because that's where time zone starts, So, yeah, I just reckon that's the time of launch. That's what I reckon. Day 27th of October. Makes sense, Isn't that Halloween in the America lands? Yeah.
Everything is Halloweeny inside that vault.
Well, then there we go. Confirmed. Conspiracy confirmed. 27th of October is going to be Fallout 76, and it's going to launch either in the UK or somewhere in the world at 0634. Where is Vault 76 located? That's where it's going to launch at 0634. There we go. There's the time sorted, done.
Well, what we know from Fallout 3 is that it's in or near the District of Columbia, so that would be, Virginia, basically. DC, near Washington. The hints in the trailer points at the Appalachians, as John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads playing in the background. So, yeah, guess it's somewhere around the Appalachians. There's even rumors, and we should not go too much into those just yet, but there are rumors saying it will happen up in northwestern part, of around the interstate roads, northwest Virginia.
I was reading on a thread somewhere, right, and they're trying to get these coordinates, like GPS coordinates and stuff, and they're trying to decipher 27, and October is 08 or 09 or whatever have you, and 2102, and then the bell is just a bell, meaning Bell, Liberty Bell sort of thing, and then there's a 6034, and that's like GPS coordinates. I'm like, dude, take off the tinfoil hat, bro, and just wait until the game is launched, I mean, it makes too much sense not to be released in the Appalachians, interstate roads, all that jazz. It makes sense to me, but just too much conspiracy tinfoiling, bro. I mean, good God, I know people, me of all loves a good tinfoil, but good God, too much, bro, too much.
Well, there's one, for example, the vault 76 was supposed to open in 2097, 20 years after the war. And that was defined. But how did they know the war would start? We know post-fact in the lore when this war started. How did they know ahead of the time? And it seems a little bit too coincidental that 2097 would be the bicentennial, sorry, not the bicentennial, much more than that, 400 years birthday of US.
Quad centennial? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Square centennial? It's a four-sided thing?
So the war would have to, they would have to have known that the war started basically as US turned 400. And then at the 20 years you get when they were supposed to open. There's some things here that, the numbers seem a little bit too suspect. Again, relative to the lore.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they'll gloss over those bits and pieces. When it comes to lore being lore and the game being the game, certain elements are glossed over quite liberally. And I'm pretty sure it'll come out in Vault 76 with reading the books and the lore and the freaking discs and whatever have you that, Vault-Tec was the evil corporation that started World War 22, whatever this is, So, things might be different. But another thing here, you said there's going to be less evolution. So, as you've pointed out, will there be death claws? Will there be radioactive moles? Oh, interesting. Well, those bloody wasp things. Good God, those wasp things, dude. Seriously, pardon the pun, but they bug the living hell out of me. Just appear from nowhere and gaff you. It's like, dude, leave me alone, bro. I'm just exploring, bro.
Yeah, I was watching streams of it just as the game came out, Fallout 4, and people were just being killed by those bugs all the time. It was fun to watch. Then I got the game and I had zero problem with them, probably because I knew they were there. It's easy enough.
Dude, those bugs, problem. Those bugs, bro. Leave the bugs, bro. See, when it came to Fallout 4, right, I didn't really want to watch anything on YouTube related to the game or read any news articles about it apart from, the odd little, how did you get past this mission when you're really, really stuck and you just can't be bothered figuring out yourself. Just go on the internet, how did you do this? Clickety-click, done. So I stayed away from the major sort of outlets, all of that sort of bits and pieces, and I figured the game out myself and played it and had a good time. So the bugs, made me learn that fuck bugs, quite literally. Pain in the ass.
But no, you're right. So it's been a lot less time, than in Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, which should mean less evolution, which should mean no death claws, and okay, radioactive moles might be there because there'll be more radiation and there'll be moles. I don't know. But all the really extreme things should be just less. Have there been any time to, create goals? We don't really know. We know there'll be one, or we suspect there'll be one, but it seems like all the things that you associate with these games, particularly the last ones, they won't be there anymore. So it's a little bit different world. It's an earlier world. I think that's going to be interesting to see.
Speaking about worlds, okay, looking at the articles from Kotaku, right, they reckon it's going to be a survival RPG, right, inspired by DayZ and Rust. Why Rust, for God's sakes? Rust was a terrible game. DayZ, understand DayZ, good game. Rust? No. Wasn't keen on Rust. Rust was just, I want to say it was a bad game, but, a lot of people disagree with me. And I'm probably wrong, as always, because, you can't be right you can't be wrong on the internet. You have to be right all the time, I think I'm correct there. So, yeah, it's going to be a DayZ-inspired Rust game. Interesting, I think. Interesting. When Rust is essentially what this game's going to be, but a lot better designed, if you think about it, what Rust is.
Well, that's then the thing, because we are hearing... Kotaku was told by insiders that it's inspired by DayZ and Rust. That doesn't mean it will be like either game. We're hearing that there will be online features, but it won't be a full MMO. DayZ and Rust, then we're back in MMOs, right? But there will be co-op, and there will be base building. Again, some of what we're hearing is the base building in this game is an extension of the base building in Fallout 4, but again, these are some of the rumors that have come up, and it might just be somebody making shit up over on 4chan. So we don't know precisely where it's heading. Just it's inspired by these.
Dude, it's 4chan. People make shit up all the time on 4chan. It's fucking 4chan. It's what 4chan does. 4chan are where the trolls live. Exactly. It's where the trolls live, bro. Seriously. But speaking about that, right, there's a guy that cited Fallout 76 correctly on, bits and pieces. And I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that's been citing games. And they're eerily similar to what he's been saying, if not bang on the nose accurate. So, Fallout Rust, Daisy Rust, Rusty Daisy. People are saying it's going to be, like you said earlier on, it's going to be a case of, is it going to be a battle royale kind of game? Well, they'd be silly not to. They put base building in Fallout 4. Why not put a base building and a Fallout 4 esque sort of switch onto oh god, what's that new one everyone's playing now? Fortnite. There we go. Which essentially what Fortnite is. They build bases. There's a battle royale scene into it. I don't see why Bethesda can't do that and do it perhaps better, because we all know Bethesda don't just do it by halves. They do it, by full measures. So that's what I reckon the game's going to be. It's going to be a Daisy Rust base buildy type, the battle royale sort of game. Yeah, it's going to have co-op, and if you want to play PvE, but if you want to play PvP, battle royale all the way. The big game companies, Bethesda, EA, all them crazy malarkey bits and pieces are having to follow what the consumer base is playing currently, which is battle royale. And previously it was, Minecraft, which was essentially base building. So they're having to adapt, and if you can't beat them, join them. That's what they're doing. That's what I reckon it's going to be. And the Fallout guys, the 4chan guys, I think it's just one dude that's been calling out these games, not just this game, but previous games as well. Or there's some dude somewhere on the internet that's been citing these games on Reddit, and he is an insider, but things he says isn't completely true. It's half truths, not complete truths. It's an interesting topic to get all tinfoily about.
See, I disagree with some of what you said. I do not think there'll be a battle royale. It does not fit into the lore, really, unless they put us in, I don't know, like a bandit or something. If we're a bandit faction at some point, there could be, but no, it just doesn't. It doesn't fit in. It doesn't feel right in the world of Fallout. I don't think there'll be a battle royale. It's fun to say there will be, but I strongly doubt it. I think more, and this is purely me guessing, some of what we're hearing, some of the rumors, some of what people say they hear from insiders, and some of the bullshit going on 4chan, if you take all of that, base building, co-op, RPG, again, co-op, not PvP, we're getting Fallout, the Division. We're getting the divisions. You have that thing back at your base at the, postal office, where you can slowly build up your little base and then go out from there, right? You have that. You have your little make guns things, which is also a thing in Fallout 4 at least. And then co-op. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see you have to build a base. You can build base with your friends, some kind of online feature there, and then go out together and either just explore or take on missions. And that they'll be more raidy than they have been in the past.
Okay, well, I'm glad to see we're in difference of opinions here, because this gives us a lot of to talk about. Whereas you reckon they're following what they were playing yesteryear. They were going with the MMO sort of things, the massive online sort of open world sort of things.
Well, I think because I don't go MMO. I think they're going to go small team, 2, 3, 4 people maximum, small fire teams that are building a base and going and doing raids, as opposed to proper MMO, with the first M being massive. I think they're going to keep it small and just co-op PvE.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. You could get a small fire team and go raid another vault. Each vault is a different dude inside there controlling the vault, and each vault is different. The ones with experiments, ones without experiments. You've got a plethora of vaults to go and do things with. So that does make a lot of sense. But you see, I reckon they're going battle royale. I do, because it's the new on trend. Whereas yesteryear was, massive world, free roam, massive world. That I'm pretty sure that they're going what's happening now, because I think the world play sort of game is dying a bit. Division, as you keep calling it, is I think everyone's massive world played out. And if you think about it, DayZ was a massive world as well. where you can go around and do things, and so things will spawn in at a certain time, and you go and do those bits and pieces. That's what DayZ was, essentially. Except you had zombies, and you built bases, and you made tents, and you shot people in the face and robbed their stuff. Essentially what you do in the Dark Zone in The Division. So it's interesting. You honestly think it's going to be, basically another Destiny, just a different type of Destiny, where you get a small fight team and you go raid another vault, and that is essentially is your raid, or you go raid a bandit base, or you go raid a military establishment, because that's where the good guns are. Yes, what you reckon it's going to be?
Well, think of it. If you take the raid mechanics from... I'm going to stick more with The Division than with Destiny. Take the Explore and the PvE side of, again, The Division. You take the survival parts of DayZ and Rust. You take the base building of them and Fallout 4. I think you can have something awesome there. And there's, in between, there was the Fallout Shelter, where you had to build your own shelter underground. Put that in as a base building, extend the base building part. I think you could have a pretty awesome game.
Hang on. Am I hearing G actually wanting to buy a game? Hang on. Has Bethesda made a game you actually want to go and purchase? Hang on. What?
Hey, I have a purchased copy of Fallout 4. I didn't purchase, somebody else did. Thank you. But I'm not opposed to buying games. What's this idea?
Hang on. If you go and get this game, right, this new Division and its co-op, and we do these things, I swear to Christ, I'm going to buy the game too. And come go raids with you, bro.
Thank you. Because, don't get me wrong, I would probably play the heck out of The Division as well. I just have some issues with it. And Destiny just wasn't me. I think I've said that repeatedly. But there are games out there that I'm fully okay with. It's that idea when they then cost, 60 bacon bucks for your game, and then another 60 for the online ability, and another 60 for the DLC.
Yeah, that's
another 60.
Yeah, I'm with you there, dude. That's beyond me. That is, honest to God, beyond me. I don't understand why the games cost almost double. And people say, yes, but development costs have gone up, blah, blah, blah. Nonsense. The shareholders want more money, and the only reason they're going to get more money out of you is by holding a carrot in front of your face until you shell out what they want. And then you get the game you want. They've partitioned the game so much nowadays. This is what happened in Division. Okay, it's happened in Division. What happened in Destiny? They partitioned the game so much, they broke it. And they couldn't fix it no matter how many times they rewrote the lore, and they rewrote the story, and they patchworked that Destiny 1 to pieces. It broke the game so much for me, I still haven't bought Destiny 2. Because I'm bitter, put it that way. And I hope to God they don't go that way with Bethesda. Bethesda make massive worlds, and I have explored Skyrim. I've explored Elder Scrolls. I haven't played Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not going to do that. I will not play that game online because I'll just die playing that game. I know I will. I played Elder Scrolls when you went into that crazy other place when you were like backwards and upside down and you killed a Joker dude. I can't remember the exact name of it. Elder Scrolls 5 or something? I can't remember. That long ago. I played Fallout 3. Great place. Fallout 4. Great game. New Vegas. It felt very like Fallout 3. It was like a rehashed clone of Fallout 3. Story was different. Great. Fallout 4 felt a better game than Fallout 3. Definitely.
Well, I don't know what to say except I just hope this becomes a game that's at least close to the Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas style-wise. Because
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, that has to stay. And as I said, Battle Royale is fun to make fun of, but it doesn't fit in. All the other things, all the other trends that we're seeing. One thing I don't want to do is run and do the same raids repeatedly. I don't want to see Glass of Vaults, Wall of Glass, whatever the hell it was called, 17 times in one day.
Oh, yeah. The Vault of Glass was my favourite raid to date. Probably because it was, for me at the time, the hardest one to complete at the time. And now it's just become a joy to do. Okay, granted I haven't played Destiny in X amount of months, but the Vault of Glass was my first raid ever in video game history. And I loved it so much. I love that raid. I love it. I know everything about it. I say everything about it. We did a piece on it, G. And we got some heat for it. Yay! Long time ago. Long time ago. Anyway, speaking about some trends. right? And we touched on trends with the massive world and bits and pieces, right? Do you reckon they're going to do a mobile tie-in?
See, that's one of the rumors, one of the 4chan rumors. I sort of think they should, no matter what. Even whether they want to or not, I think it makes something extra to the game. It adds something. It gives you another venue. And particularly if we're talking anything that is online persistent, I'd like to have a mobile companion. And don't look to Warframe, because their mobile companion is shite. As in, you can literally... It's game-breakingly bad. You can break your actual game that you're playing by having the mobile client open at the same time in Warframe. But having something... If we're building bases and it's centered around the base building, having a companion client thingy on the phone, so when you're out and about and there's something, it'll pop up or something, you can do things, you can still interact with your thing. If there's co-op and there's your friends doing things on the base, you can go, oh yeah, I'll just unlock something for you. Yeah, that makes sense for me.
So basically, a Destiny app that is going to work correctly, because they tried that with Destiny and it just fell apart. I didn't use it. My raid party didn't use it. The other raid parties I was with didn't use it. So you reckon it'll be a Fallout Shelter 2 sort of thing, yeah?
Well, as long as it's on the base building resource management side, yes. If it's just use the mobile app to change your gear while playing, no.
Alright. Now, you see, that's an interesting idea. Do you reckon that Fallout 4 prototyped a lot of bits and pieces as well as the Fallout Shelter? Because I reckon Bethesda did the Fallout Shelter the right way when it came to games like that. I reckon they did it correctly. The way they did it, it was right. They didn't nickel and dime you is the phrase I want to use. They didn't nickel and dime me every single damn chance they got.
It's less aggressive, I think, is how you would put it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Go play Roller Coaster Tycoon. Damn, that thing is annoying.
No, stop about your micromanaging games, bro. Seriously, stop. All you do is play those micromanaging games. That's all you do. I'll be glad to see you in a raid with me in another person's vault. Because honestly, the more I think about your idea, the more it makes sense. Because this game would have been in development for a long time, and the time it was in development was when, these massive worlds, these playable worlds, was the in thing. Nowadays, the past few months, maybe half a year, 6 months, Battle Royale has really taken over. So you probably find next year's big game will be a huge Battle Royale game. So developers take time. Developers take effort. Okay, I'll stop quoting, what's that dude, the actor dude again? God. What's the guy the guy that played Shaft?
Guy that played Shaft? I did not watch a TV show in the 90s.
Morgan Freeman. God, why am I thinking? It's not Morgan Freeman.
Shaft is from the 1970s.
No, I know, but there's a recent release. I say recent. There's a recent release of Shaft. He played Mace Windu.
Yeah, that sounds like Morgan Freeman.
That's not Morgan Freeman. They're not all called Morgan Freeman, G.
Denzel Washington?
No, G. That's even worse. To be honest, wasn't Denzel Washington a tennis player? God, he's a good actor too. Oh, I don't even know. I can't remember his name offhand. He was in Pulp Fiction, for God's sake. It's the best film ever. Samuel L. Jackson, that's his name. Development takes time. Development takes effort. Okay, I'll stop quoting Samuel L. Jackson.
The worst part is I was just sitting here watching you have your little meltdown.
Yeah,
I would say Richard Roundtree.
No, who the hell is Richard Roundtree?
That was the original Shaft.
Okay, look, right. It's, I know Shaft is an old 70s, 60s program, whatever have you, and Samuel did a remake of, he acted as the main character in the remake of Shaft.
Okay.
Right, that's enough content, I think. Let's shut this bad boy down.
Shouldn't we? Yeah. Anyways, Bam, just to point out, we built some of this on the rumors. We try to point out when it's rumors, a lot of the stuff that's out there. The whole it's not MMO, typical survival is part of what comes out of 4chan. 4chan also, there's supposed to be proper skills, whatever that means, and more dialogue options. And radiated elephants from a zoo? It's just, no. One of the things that gave it away is they've said that it's some of the original writers from Fallout 3 have come back to write this one. including Chris Avellone, and he's outright stated he has nothing to do with it. So there's reason to not believe most of the stuff coming out of 4chan, because that one person who keeps spilling the beans have said things that are verifiably untrue, things that are absolutely false.
Aye, but you see, this is, again, I know I'm going to lead it on a bit more, but you see, this is where, it's like, it's open to interpretation. I think that's probably the best phrase. And you're right, a lot of the stuff that people are pointing fingers about and conjecturing about is rumours and conjecture and speculation, which makes it so tantalizing. So yes, I'm going to be watching this with my beady little peepers, and if it's going to be the game you've described, G, I'm actually tempted to buy it, play it, and run it. Finally, a game I can purchase, and I haven't bought a game, no word of a lie. This is going to sound bad. The last game I bought, right, was South Park: The Fractured Butthole. That's the last game I bought. And before that, the last game I bought, no word of a lie, was Destiny. Division, sorry. So, yeah, I only spend money on games I like to play, and I'm still playing Division. Okay, I haven't played it in many months because I've been stuck on Gran Turismo, but, you know, I like to think I matter.
Well, no matter what, we will hear more on June 10th, or over here on June 11th. They're having their Bethesda E3, or as they call it, BE3 2018 thing, at 3:30 at night, our time, or at least my time. That's 2:30 up in, Disunited Kingdom of Farage. So, middle of the night, meaning on the 11th early morning, I'll get up and watch the replay of it.
Yeah, I don't think my brain can manage, after a whole day's work, manage to stay up that late and not sleep. I don't think I'll be watching any of it. I'll have to watch a replay at work. So yeah, I'll be doing that.
But hey, our man with a master plan, Drac himself, will be at E3. See if he sneaks in there and hears something.
Drac, I swear to God, if you don't get yourself on a camera that's connected to YouTube and scream something crazy, I'm gonna find you and shoot you.
Which also means anybody at E3, look for a guy in a, black t-shirt, black cap, with the Bammster logo on. Because that's plausible that you'd run into him, amongst all the tens of thousands of other people.
He'll give you bacon.
Don't say that.
Oh shit, say that, dude. They'll all look for him. They'll give you bacon. He'll give you bacon. He has bacon on offer. Yes, you can trust this bacon delivery boy.
Anyways, up is coming Dragon TJ. It was pre-recorded just after they watched the movie, but they asked that we hold it back to make sure all of you had the chance to watch the Avengers. So here's them, probably spoilering the hell out of it.
Hey everyone, Draconis here again, and as promised, here, finally, is our reaction to Avengers Infinity War. As mentioned last time, apologies for the delay, but we just couldn't fit this into the last episode due to the timing. So sit back and hear what we think. Feel free to offer up your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with what we talk about? There will be spoilers ahead in the things that we do talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because, once it's been out for 2 weeks, I think it's okay for us to do spoiler talk.
Sure.
So,
but we might as well at least say spoiler alert before you come this far.
Yeah, but for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, you leave the theater, it's a lot to process.
It's the first Marvel film that I have left, and as much as I loved it, I was not in a good mood. But that's a success with this.
For the story they're telling, absolutely. I mean, it's just, even the concept of all of these characters being done so well, all of it looking phenomenal on screen, and getting to see that all together, all these actors, playing the different characters, like, that isn't in and of itself is mind-blowing. As a kid, I could never even fathom that. I was excited when I got to see Hulk and Thor on the big screen, and that was enough for me as a kid because I hadn't gotten anything else.
Wait, did you just reference Return of the Incredible Hulk? The live-action movie with Bill Bixby?
Yep.
Oh, man, that's awesome. On.
And
that's a deep cut right there.
Well, but as a kid, that was great. And
which is funny because I was really excited about Trial of the Incredible Hulk because Daredevil was in it. And I remember watching it, and even as a kid, because I was even that nerdy kid, I was so mad that Daredevil was in like black pajamas instead of the red Daredevil costume, because I remember sitting down to watch it. It was on NBC. It was a primetime made-for-TV movie, and I'm holding my Daredevil action figure, and I'm holding my Hulk action figure, and I am ready to just go nuts. I had to have been about 9 years old, man, and I just remember coming away from it like, really? Like, even then, I was that kid. Yeah, it was bad.
But
I do have a soft spot for that. So
yeah.
But continue.
Anyway,
sorry.
yeah, no, this movie, man. There's so many times I literally got goosebumps, just chills running down my spine from some of the cool things that were going on. There's several gut punches in this movie that you don't necessarily see coming.
Mm-hmm. And even if you do say it's stuff that you've guessed, you are still not prepared for it. The best thing about this movie is while it pulls source material from the Infinity Gauntlet by Jim Starlin and George Perez, and then it pulls from Infinity by Jonathan Hickman and Jerome Pena, it's still doing its own thing. And I love when comic book films do that. I don't need straight adaptations. The only thing I need out of comic book movies is for characters to remain true to who they are. If you want to deviate from source material, that's fine. The characterization, I want them to be true to who they are. Now, in some cases, sometimes when you're true to who they are, you find ways to unlock new potential in those characters. And the best example is always going to be Iron Man. Because Iron Man in the Marvel Universe, and there are a lot of people who are going to be upset hearing this, but unless he's in the Avengers, Iron Man at best was a B-level Marvel superhero. Iron Man was cool, but he's not Cap, and he's not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, especially, by the time the 80s and the 90s and all that rolled around. But by 2008, when that Iron Man film came out, and then congruent to it, Matt Fraction's run on Iron Man to kind of fix the character after everything in Civil War, because, spoiler alert, Iron Man in the Civil War comics is a dick. But that aside, you can improve on these characters while remaining true to them, and those improvements are going to move right into the comics, because Iron Man in the comics reads like Robert Downey Jr., and it's one of the best things to happen to that character. So there's room for both. Just, keep a little, stay a little true to those characters and help improve them as well. Help evolve them. That's the beauty of this medium. But all of that aside, I came out of this movie a little bit more broken a person than I had anticipated I was going to be. I loved every second of it. There's nothing I would have changed. Every character is so strong in their own right. And the best part is you feel like everybody has some equal screen time.
I felt they did a really good job of juggling all these characters with the different dialogue, storylines, everything, giving them that screen time and not making it feel forced in any way.
And if characters didn't have enough screen time, they still felt strong. Mm-hmm. Like, a great example, one of the strongest presence in that movie is Okoye from Black Panther. Mm-hmm. She feels like she is supposed to be there, or Rocket feels like he is supposed to be there. Never once does this feel like an Avengers movie. This feels like a Marvel Universe movie.
Right.
And that's a great strength there. A lot of people's complaints about Civil War wasn't a Captain America movie, it was an Avengers movie. That's a Captain America movie where the Avengers guest star. It's just an issue of Captain America. That's all it feels like. But this is a Marvel Comics event.
I'm going to go back to that comment about it being an Avengers movie, not a Captain America movie.
I know. I don't understand why that was a critique anyway. Right?
That was a damn great film.
For sure it was.
Enjoy it.
Really, this is what we're complaining about? Like, the movie is so good, y'all gotta find something to complain about?
I guess.
No. Nonsense. But the strength to this movie is, like you said, it's the juggling of people, places, and things. And really, really good comic books can do that because there's no budget. There's no actor getting upset and going off to their trailer. There's no studio coming down on them. Comic books have this really great ability to juggle all these characters, and somehow the Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely, they all found a way to make all of this feel full and individual all at once. And the two biggest strengths to that is when you are introduced to the Guardians of the Galaxy, you're introduced to them like it's a James Gunn movie.
Well, James Gunn played a big part in that too,
And
that's one of the cool things too. Is you got the Russo brothers that are doing this, but they're not afraid to share the ball.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, when you're introduced to Wakanda, it feels like Ryan Coogler's movie.
Yeah.
So they were very good at being able to do that. Like with Wakanda, you hear the Black Panther theme, and you have that fully realized world from the Black Panther film, and never once does it feel like, okay, we got to throw it in there. No, it's so much a part of it. And with Guardians at the same time, I mean, you don't have this grand space opera piece as they come in. It's Rubber Band Man by the Spinners. So it's just, it's so much fun to see that what makes those movies special kind of get to be there. Because while Spider-Man Homecoming is a movie all its own, it's very much in that in that New York City Marvel universe. So you don't have to have it feel like John Watts' Spider-Man Homecoming. It's just Spidey. But it's very important that Guardians and Black Panther feel like those movies.
Oh, and dude, you're talking about Spider-Man, though. I think that was probably the biggest gut punch of all. Like, the way he goes out like that. Just,
oh, my God.
Holy crap. And that was one I didn't see coming.
I mean, I'm a huge... Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel superhero.
Well, and then right after, like, he just spent all that effort trying to save all these folks and, like, you know, pulling them together.
That's Spidey.
Right, and it's so perfect, but then, oh, man,
It killed me because they totally echoed the 10th Doctor's regeneration from Doctor Who. And that's my favorite Doctor. And I remember that regeneration just... Oh, man, that one killed me. And... but we were talking about this earlier. There's something very specific to Spider-Man's quote-unquote death. And that is, number one, you were reminded in that instance that he's still just a kid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
you know?
It really, the way they wrote the dialogue for that and the way that it played out, it really kind of harkens back to, like, if you watch old war movies where you see... You know, a guy got shot on the battlefield.
16-year-old kid in the war.
Yeah, and his buddy's trying to hold his guts in, knowing that he's dying, and there's nothing he can do to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, that was really the feeling I got from that.
And the look of helplessness on Tony's face, because it was Tony's job, self-imposed job, to take care of Peter and to make sure that he is okay, because Tony put that on him. Mm-hmm. So... Tony's face through that is a heartbreaker, but the big thing for me in that scene, the first thing I thought as Peter was fading out was, oh my God, Aunt May. Because remember, at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, May finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, and we don't know what the resolution is yet with that, but until we do, in my head, all I can think to myself is, May must be worried sick knowing that Peter is out there fighting whatever this is, but she has no idea that he just died on another planet. If she's one of the, millions of survivors out there. So that right there is just another immediate heartbreak for me. But,
well, and I will say this, though. I got to give them credit, too, to the writers that... for writing the motivation for Thanos. Like they really put it together in a logical way that made sense, that you could understand. You don't necessarily agree with, but you could understand the logic behind why he thought the way he did and why he was willing to wipe out half the universe.
It was an interesting change, though, because, I mean, in the Infinity Gauntlet, all through Thanos' existence, he does what he does to impress Death because he's in love with her.
Right.
And it was interesting to take that aspect away and make his motivations something a bit more akin to control, you know?
Well, and it goes back to, you know, every villain sees themselves as a hero. And he really does see himself like he's saving the universe. That's how he sees himself.
See, I like that he, in a way, too, I don't know if he necessarily sees himself as the hero. He sees himself as the guy, as the only guy who was willing to make the hard choice.
Well, at the very least, he sees himself as an anti-hero. I mean,
I don't see. That's the thing. That term gets thrown around so often. I don't ever see anybody saying, like, you always hear someone say, I just want to be a hero or something like that. I never hear anybody say, I want to be an anti-hero, because it sounds dumb.
But the point is,
I don't see him
if he doesn't see himself living up to what people would consider to be, the hero because of the choices that he's making. It's like...
It still doesn't make him an anti-hero. It makes him, in his mind, the only guy qualified to make this decision that nobody else is going to make, because compassion is getting in the way, and compassion is weak.
Right.
And even his compassion was weak.
Right, but if you look at how they wrote his character and how how he talks about why he's doing what he's doing.
Sure.
He truly believes that what he's doing is making the universe a better place.
Sure, but I wouldn't use the word anti-heroic in that. I just think that's an overinflated term. And like going back to Venom, like the marketing behind that is find the anti-hero in you. No. Anti-hero is a block away from being a bad guy. Stop that. But no, Thanos was a fully realized villain in this, and you can understand his motivation, but he's still a villain.
Right.
And this goes back to Eric Killmonger from Black Panther. It is so easy to sympathize with his motivation, and you can sympathize for him in his life situation. And I know a lot of people who came away from that really feeling that he was a hero in his own right. Don't forget, he still killed people.
Right.
He had no problem with killing people because the ends justified the means. That still makes him a bad guy. And some of these are just people doing their job. It's not like, oh, well, that person, I'm getting revenge on it. No, that's just a security guard, man. He's got a wife and a kid to feed.
Yep.
So I don't want to romanticize the idea of the anti-hero or romanticize the idea of the sympathetic villain, because they're still villains. It doesn't mean that you can't feel for them, but it's like Iron Man said to Doctor Strange, when Doctor Strange told him, if it comes down to protecting the Time Stone or you or the kid, make no mistake, I'll choose the Time Stone. And what did Iron Man say? Great moral compass.
Yeah.
And coming from Iron Man, Captain America challenged him on not making the big play and everything. And when push came to shove, what did Iron Man do? He made the big play.
Right.
And that's what all of this needs to be. There needs to be some type of consistent moral fiber. And you don't always get that from writers of these films, because they want you to feel for the villain. But
I don't think there was so much that they wanted you to feel for the villain in this. Just that maybe
which was a plus.
Understand.
That's what I'm talking about. And there was a plus on that. You can understand why Thanos is doing it. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with it.
Yeah.
On top of that, I mean, we're going to talk about Thanos. Gamora, man.
Dude.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that one hurt. That one really, really hurt. And specifically because the two Guardians I was prepared to lose were Drax or Mantis. And I love Mantis. Pom Klementif is awesome as her. It's such a different character in there. It creates a great dynamic. She's so much fun, but I think I would have been okay with that. Drax is the same thing, another character who brings a fun dynamic to it, but I would have been okay with that as well, especially because, I mean, we've seen so many different iterations of Drax the Destroyer in the comics that who knows what could have possibly happened next. Gamora was tough, though, especially because Gamora helps, she kind of helps strengthen Peter Quill's moral fiber. Peter Quill is a better person because Gamora is in his life. And on the flip side, Gamora the warrior gets to take a backseat to Gamora the person because of her feelings for Peter Quill. There's a really great balance of humanity in the two of them because they have each other. And that was tough. It was the right choice, but it was tough.
Well, and here's one of the ways that might still be more of a gut punch. One of the things I talked about with you was that my feelings leaving the theater was that a lot of these deaths that happened really didn't hold weight once you're given the opportunity to reflect back on the movie. Like, in the moment, it was like I talked about with Spider-Man, it's a punch to the gut, and it has a real heavy weight to it. But then thinking back, you're like, oh, it's a comic book movie, and you're aware of the fact that there are sequels in place, and so these characters are not going to stay dead. Plus, like with Black Panther, like they just did Black Panther. How could they kill that character off already? Not that there aren't stories they can tell without T'Challa, but I just don't see that being the direction that they go right away. So it's almost like it takes some wind out of the sails of the story in a way that that these deaths now don't really feel as important as they did in the moment you as the viewer.
I disagree with that. It makes Thanos look like the villain he should be. Thanos absolutely should do the thing that Thanos does, and everybody is gone. Just like that. Just like it happened in the Infinity Gauntlet comics, throughout all that. The problem that we have as moviegoers is we are way too privy to plans for the studios for dates in the coming years and what sequels are going to happen, that people use that as an excuse to not feel what's happening in the story after they've had a moment to digest it. And it's the same thing with comic books. When you experience the death of the character, there are so many comic fans who all they talk about is, oh, well, it doesn't matter, the character's going to come back. That is not the point. The point of it is, how are you experiencing it until that character comes back, if they do? And more importantly, as you are reading these stories or you are watching these movies, now it's about the characters who are left in their wake and how they move forward without the people that they love, how they move forward without their allies and their friends. That's the value of storytelling right there. And everybody, because we are so in the know and so immediately in the know, especially because of social media and the immediate access to all this news, that it's not the movie's fault, it's not the story's fault, it's the fact that we have all this access immediately that it takes away from the immediate feeling that you have in this movie. I know Spider-Man's going to come back. Of course he is. It's not the point. The point is what's going to happen in the next movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How are they going to deal with Spider-Man's gone? Or how are they going to deal with Black Panther is gone? Shuri is his little sister. How does she deal with this? Sure, in the comics, she becomes Black Panther, but that's not the point. In the moment, how does she deal with that?
In this moment, how do I deal with having to wait another year to see the other part of this movie?
You go to your local comic book store and you buy comics and you read them for a year.
So, one thing I will say before we wrap this part of it up, though, is I think that things like the death with Gamora, though, may still contain that gut punch, even for people who think that a lot of these don't hold that much weight, knowing that people are going to come back. Because at some point, we expect that much of this will be reversed. But is everything going to be reversed?
Yep.
Or is it
Don't forget,
just
there are
going
some
to be
permanent deaths.
Yeah, is it just going to be the snap of the fingers?
As far as I'm concerned, Gamora's death is permanent.
Yeah,
Loki's is permanent. Heimdall is
gone. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Vision is gone. We'll see. But if you've read the Infinity Gauntlet comics, you know what happens. But at the same time, the great thing about these movies is they're not necessarily using the entirety of these story arcs in the comics to adapt into film. So who knows what's going to happen? All I know is I don't want to think about movie scheduling. All I want to think about is what's next in the story.
Well, and you want to absorb and,
sure,
basically process through this stuff. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's so much that happens in that movie and so many emotions throughout that movie. I almost feel like you have to go see it again as part of processing. I've
seen it twice already. I'm getting up a third one soon. It is really about, if these characters mean something to you, don't let that logic seep in of, well, there's another sequel, so it leaves the death hollow. Don't think about it like that. Think about this as someone consuming a story and realizing that something has just happened to your favorite character. It doesn't matter which one it is. I mean, you get all these really great character-driven moments. The stuff with Rocket and Thor, the scene with Groot and the Hammer, Stormbreaker.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you know what, another great surprise was that scene with Gamora and Thanos when they come walking up and there's the Red Skull. Like, for years, fans, we've all theorized that he didn't actually die, but he was transported somewhere, and there he is.
Yeah, no,
he looked pretty badass.
Oh, dude, he was great. I mean, I'm a little sad that it wasn't Hugo Weaving, but whoever that was doing the voice, it was spot on, man. It was awesome. I have zero complaints about this movie, and I think all of the choices that they made were the right choices, and I'm just excited to see what happens in the next one, because remember, I mean, end credits, we have Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel.
But that's going to be a prequel, which I'm not taking away from it all, but Captain Marvel is supposed to happen.
Captain Marvel, the movie, is in the 90s.
Right.
But at the moment...
Oh, no, yeah, no, he's calling her in, she'll be in the next... Yeah,
so
the next
who knows
Avengers.
how she got from the 90s
right.
to the modern time. And who knows, maybe it could have to do with the quantum reality and Ant-Man and the Wasp. There are so many cool things happening right now that I think everybody who gets upset, about how the deaths don't matter, don't realize how much more story there still is to tell. Well, and I think that's really cool.
You mentioned Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they just released another trailer for that, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see it. I love those characters as well.
Sure.
My biggest question is, when is that happening?
Oh,
is it happening?
The talk is
before Infinity War.
The talk is the first part of the movie is before everything, and the later part of the movie is as it's going on.
Jeez.
So no, that's gonna be awesome. I think that's a smart move on their part.
Yeah, I can't wait.
You know, especially because my money is on Michael Peña's character being one of the people who dissolves.
No, he can't dissolve.
Why?
Because I love...
Because you like him?
No. I love the thing I saw about... there was... Somebody put it out. I wish I could take credit for it. I wasn't the one that thought of it. But, you know, all I want after Infinity War is this character giving a recap of Infinity War.
For sure. Michael Peña's character.
He has to survive because he has to be able to give us that recap.
You know, and I mean, don't forget, too, there's cool... one of the cool things about Captain Marvel, her movie, since her power is from the Kree, the big villains in her movie are the Skrulls.
Right.
Which is really cool because no one ever thought we were going to get the Skrulls in the MCU because of the Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. They just can't use Kl'rt, the Super Skrull, or kind of named Skrulls. But the fact that they're going to be in there is cool. You've got Goliath in Ant-Man and Wasp, Lawrence Fishburne. So there's still plenty of room to see more things happen.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's where knowing what's coming is cool. You know, is the optimism of, oh man, now what are they going to do? Not so much the deaths don't matter or the stories don't matter. If the deaths or the stories don't matter, then there's no point in experiencing them. You know?
Well, and they certainly, like I said, they definitely in that moment you're experiencing it, it's a punch to the gut. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And every one of them was done well. Scarlet Witches was heartbreaking. That was a really tough one. Obviously, Spider-Man's was the one that emotionally broke me. The Guardians, especially after Peter finding out what happened to Gamora, you know, it was that whole movie, especially the later half of the movie. It's just it's emotional destruction.
Oh yeah.
But you know, they nailed it, man. I mean, they stuck the landing on this.
They did a phenomenal job.
10 years ago, I had friends of mine telling me on posts on Facebook that, you know, you're never going to get comic book movies looking like the comics because they don't make comic book movies for you. And to that, I tell them,